We will discuss top anthropology MCQs. These MCQs are important for CSS and Provincial Commission exams. In addition, these MCQs are also valid for Bachelor and MS level students. 1. Anthropology is the study of A. Fossils, B. Archaeology, C. Dinosaurs, D. Humanity. Right answer is D. 2. Anthropology focuses on the role of what in shaping human behavior? A. Religion, B. Biology, C. Culture, D. Values. Right answer is C. 3. The learned values, beliefs, and rules of conduct shared, to some extent, by the members of a society that govern their behavior with one another is called A. Culture, B. Citizenship, C. Ethics, D. Nationality. Right answer is A. 4. The tools people make and use, the clothing and ornaments they wear, the buildings they live in, and the household utensils they use are defined as A. Symbolic culture, B. Material culture, C. Materialism, D. Culture. Right answer is B. 5. What is a perspective in anthropology that views culture as an integrated whole, no part of which can be completely understood without considering the whole? A. Comparative perspective, B. Cultural perspective, C. Global perspective, D. Holistic perspective. Right answer is C. 6. Which subfield of anthropology would a paleoanthropologist work in? A. Cultural anthropology, B. Archaeology, C. Linguistic anthropology, D. Biological anthropology. Right answer is A. 7. What is the term for the aspect of cultural anthropology involved with observing and documenting different ways of life? A. Research, B. Fieldwork, C. Ethnology, D. Ethnography. Right answer is D. 8. What is the method in cultural anthropology by which comparative data on cultures and societies is gathered? A. Ethnographic research, B. Historical research, C. Bibliographical research, D. Ethnological research. Right answer is A. 9. What is an approach in anthropology that stresses the importance of analyzing cultures in their own terms rather than in terms of the culture of the anthropologist? A. Ethnocentrism, B. Holism, C. Comparative perspective, D. Cultural relativism. Right answer is D. 10. What is the process of learning one's culture through informal observation and formal instruction? A. Observation, B. Acculturation, C. Inculturation, D. Behaviorism. Right answer is C. 11. A word, image, or object that stands for cultural beliefs or sentiments is A. Symbol, B. Script, C. Character, D. Sign. Right answer is A. 12. Naturalized concepts are one of the main sources of A. Intercultural understanding, B. Intercultural disagreement, C. Cultural innovation, D. Ethnocentrism. Right answer is D. 13. An alternative cultural model within a society that expresses different views about the way that society should be organized is A. Alternative lifestyle, B. Counterculture, C. Subculture, D. Resistance movement. Right answer is B. 14. What is a process by which a new cultural product is created by the selective borrowing of elements from other cultures? A. Appropriation, B. Syncretism, C. Cultural evolution, D. Culture contact. Right answer is B. 15. What is the process by which a group adjusts to living within a dominant culture while at the same time maintaining its original cultural identity? A. Assimilation, B. Syncretism, C. Acculturation, D. Cultural pluralism. Right answer is C. 16. The Canadian policy of removing Aboriginal children from their homes and educating them in boarding schools was an application of the policy of A. Acculturation, B. Syncretism, C. Assimilation, D. Cultural pluralism. Right answer is C. 17. Anthropology is basic study of A. Human being, B. Community, C. Male and female, D. None of these. Right answer is A. 18. The subdiscipline of anthropology that studies diversity of human behavior in the past is A. Physical anthropology, B. Archaeology, C. Linguistic anthropology, D. Cultural anthropology. Right answer is B. 19. The study of the bodies and behavior of human-like species such as monkeys and apes is called A. Anthropology, B. Apiology, C. Primatology, D. Archaeology. Right answer is C. 20. The field of anthropology that studies cross-cultural knowledge and use of plants is called A. Ethnobotany, B. Forensic anthropology, C. Vegetal anthropology, D. There is no such field. Right answer is A. 21. Students who major in anthropology can make a living in which career? A. Teaching, B. Business consulting, C. Government policy, D. All of the above. Right answer is D. 22. Which of these is not part of the anthropological perspective? A. Cross-cultural study, B. Ethnocentrism, C. Holism, D. Cultural relativism. Right answer is B. 23. The perspective that all aspects of a culture must be studied in interconnection with each other is A. Holism, B. Cross-cultural study, C. Globalization, D. Cultural relativism. Right answer is A. 24. The written description of a culture that an anthropologist produces from his or her research is called A. Ethnocentrism, B. Ethnicity, C. Ethnocide, D. Ethnography. Right answer is D. 25. The attitude that you can understand or judge another culture in terms of your own culture is called A. Cultural relativism, B. Cultural anthropology, C. Ethnocentrism, D. Ethnoculturalism. Right answer is C. 26. Who said ideas about race, culture, and peoplehood or ethnicity have long served to orient anthropology's inquiries? A. Eric R. Wolf, B. Magnus Hundt, C. Otto Casmann, D. Bartholins Right. Answer is A. 27. Word anthropology first appeared in Renaissance Germany in the works of A. Magnus Hundt, B. Otto Casmann, C. Bartholins, D. Both A and B. Right answer is D. 28. Who defined anthropology as follows: anthropology, that is to say the science that treats of man, is divided ordinarily and with reason into anatomy, which considers the body and the parts, and psychology, which speaks of the soul. A. Bartholins, B. Étienne Serres, C. Charles Darwin, D. Paul Broca Right. Answer is A. 29. Name the neurosurgeon who had taken an interest in the pathology of speech. A. Bartholins, B. Étienne Serres, C. Charles Darwin, D. Paul Broca Right. Answer is D. 30. Who defined anthropology as the science of the nature of man? A. Waits, B. Étienne Serres, C. Charles Darwin, D. Paul Broca Right. Answer is A. 31. Cultural anthropology in particular has emphasized A. Cultural relativism, B. Holism, C. Use of findings to frame cultural critiques, D. All of these. Right answer is D. 32. In Great Britain and the Commonwealth countries, the British tradition of dash tends to dominate A. Social anthropology, B. Biological or physical anthropology, C. Cultural anthropology, D. None of these. Right answer is A. 33. In the early 20th century, in the United States, anthropology has traditionally been divided into the four-field approach developed by A. Franz Boas, B. Étienne Serres, C. Charles Darwin, D. Adam F. Kollár Right answer is A. 34. Ethnology term coined and defined by A. Étienne Serres, B. Charles Darwin, C. Adam F. Kollár, D. Franz Boas Right answer is C. 35. Gardiner in his study of relationship between culture and personality is A. Present personality, B. Grooming personality, C. Basic personality, D. All of the above. Right answer is C. 36. In nature, a mode or strategy for survival is known as A. An association, B. Artificial selection, C. An adaptation, D. Adaptive radiation. Right answer is C. 37. Ruth Benedict, Margaret Mead, are student of A. Morgan, B. E. B. Taylor, C. Franz Boas, D. None of these. Right answer is C. 38. In case of skeletalized human remains, which of following features is not of potential use in making a personal identification? A. Bone disorders, B. Dentition, C. Tattoos, D. Surgical implants. Right answer is C. 39. One of unique aspects of cultural anthropology is A. Spending long periods living in the communities they study, B. The use of questionnaires in their fieldwork, C. The collection of quantitative behavior data, D. Subjecting people to laboratory experimentation. Right answer is A. 40. Which of following kin term systems distinguishes between cross and parallel cousins? A. Hawaiian, B. Eskimo, C. Sudanese, D. Iroquois. Right answer is D. 41. Egoistic, special type of suicide presented by Émile Durkheim spring from A. Excessive regulation, B. Excessive individualism, C. Over-migration with group, D. None of these. Right answer is C. 42. Which of following kinds of work would applied anthropology include? A. Cultural resource management, B. Medical anthropology, C. Ethnobotany, D. All of the above. Right answer is A. 43. Medical anthropology is study about A. Health, B. Disease, C. Mental health, D. All of the above. Right answer is B. 44. Biological anthropology includes study of A. Non-human primates, B. Fossil record of human evolution, C. Human variation, D. All of the above. Right answer is D. 45. Who are leaders in economic, military, political, and religious affairs? A. King, B. Big man, C. Chiefs, D. Political leader. Right answer is C. 46. Research is usually used in field of A. Biology and chemistry, B. Maths and physics, C. Sociology and anthropology, D. Urdu and English. Right answer is C. 47. In caste society, groups of persons engaged in specific occupations and characteristics, which is called A. Impurity, B. Purity, C. Clean, D. None of these. Right answer is B. 48. Feminist anthropologists shows that there is no difference A. With women and girl, B. Men and boys, C. Women and men, D. None of these. Right answer is C. 49. Term used to refer to biological maximum number of birth is A. Sex ratio, B. Fertility, C. Fecundity, D. Natural increase. Right answer is C. 50. The progressional change from an undifferentiated state to highly specialized state is known as A. Development, B. growth, C. Maturation, D. Regionalization. Right answer is A. 51. First-hand personal study of local settings is referred to as A. Ethnology, B. Ethno-science, C. Ethnography, D. Ethno-history. Right answer is C. 52. Identify the correct sequence in ascending order of human evolution. A. Anthropoidea, Hominoidea, Catarrhini, Hominidic, B. Anthropoidea, Catarrhini, Hominoidea, Hominidic, C. Hominidic, Hominoidea, Catarrhini, Anthropoidea, D. Hominoidea, Anthropoidea, Catarrhini, Hominidic. Right answer is B. 53. Anthropology is the science of human similarities and differences. Who among the following has made the statement? A. A. L. Crossbar, B. A. R. Radcliffe Brown, C. M. J. Herskowitz, D. Clyde Kluckhohn. Right answer is D. 54. Forensic anthropology. A. Is a field of applied physical anthropology. B. Specializes in identification of human skeleton remains for legal purposes. C. Specializes in identification of murder victims, age, sex, and ethnicity. D. All of the above. Right answer is D. Please like the video and also consider to subscribe if you are new here.